and it's a fact you can't go everywhere. So you pick your targets and you work with the customers, develop that relationship. The product speaks for itself. It's very capable, very modern program we have now. And again, we have this continuous theme, so it's always there's always something fresh.
Hello and welcome to the MTDCNC Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Reynolds, and I'm also a proud member of the MTDCNC team. Joining me today is Neil McKinnell, who is the Aerospace Business Development Manager at Walter Tools. Neil, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. Before we get into the details and the technology, let's learn a little bit about Neil. You know, what's your background?
Well, I've been associated now with cutting tools for 30-something years. I've engineering background, engineer apprenticeship, and broke into sales a long time ago. And I've been with several companies in the cutting tools industry. Spent some time in America. It's now a longer time that I've been back in the UK, but joined Walter in 2007 and worked generally on project type work through that area to today, where we've got a big focus on aerospace.
Yeah, and I want to pick up on that before we get into the products, really. So, Aerospace Business Development Manager. We all know what's happened in the world in the last 18 months, 2 years. How's that affected your role?
Well, we came into aerospace late, and with a combination of product development and mergers, we suddenly had aerospace applicable product on our hands. So it's led its path, and so we're a late starter, coming on fast. So when you look at it from that point of view, there's still plenty of opportunity in front of you in regards to aerospace business.
I guess if the sector's up in the air like it has been of late, you still need to bring new products to market, don't you? Because it's not going to go away for long.
No, but that's a common theme with Walter anyway. It's we're currently doing 2 product releases a year. It's a continuous process, and it covers the full spectrum of all disciplines of the Walter Tools. Okay,
and let's talk about the tooling. There's a new release, isn't there? Tiger-tec Gold. That covers quite a broad spectrum of tooling, doesn't it? That one title. So maybe we can just dig a little deeper. What is Tiger-tec Gold?
Okay, so Tiger-tec Gold is our 3rd generation Tiger-tec product. So it all started way back in 2001 with a heavy focus on cast iron machining at a high rate, and it was really a bit of a step change in the industry. And so from there, we really made strides to then introduce turning inserts in the Tiger platform. We've gone on then to 2nd generation, was Tiger-tec Silver. And the big thing in that is that the industry followed us. So the cutting tool industry followed us on this theme, very similar products. So we wanted then to sort of differentiate ourselves. From 2nd generation, there was some room for going to the next step, but limited room. So with Tiger-tec Gold, again, it was seen to create room for more development for the longer term. And so we've had a bit of a change in process, and now we've got a different materials. But the whole thing behind it is this is commercially available materials and equipment, and it's a manipulation of the product afterwards that really gives the benefit.
Okay, so we're talking the full spectrum here: milling, turning, drilling, part-off, grooving.
Yep. So at the moment we launched it. Well, the first pass was launching on milling, and there wasn't such a benefit in the turning products with the similar materials. So that was back to the drawing board. We've now just hit the turning side of it. It'll move then into. We've got the indexable drilling as well. It'll then move into the turning grades for stainless steel and high temperature alloys, and then progress into grooving from there.
Yeah, it must be. I've seen this company grow both here in the UK and around the world, just organically and by some massive acquisitions throughout the years. That must be a massive advantage, having some of the the Tiger-tec brand and things like this within the portfolio. It must be a huge advantage.
Well, we pull both ways from the mergers. That obviously where there's a strong solid tools, solid round tools, we can then draw in the indexable side of things, and vice versa. Where there's a strong influence indexable, we've always got the solid round capacity to look at.
Yeah, and it must be from the reps' perspective, the sales engineers, sales managers. It must be a challenge. You've got so many products. I need a 10 mil end mill. Where do I start? Type of thing. But I guess that's where the app comes in. That's where some of the softwares. Clearly, you employ highly skilled engineers here too.
Yes, and it's a fact you can't go everywhere. So you pick your targets and you work with the customers, develop that relationship. The product speaks for itself. It's very capable, very modern program we have now. And again, we have this continuous theme, so it's always there's always something fresh that you can put in front of a customer. Yeah,
and I'm interested to learn about this MTDCN MT-TICN. It's one of the newer coatings. It's been a while since I manufactured cutting tools, but that's a new coating on me.
Well, TICN's been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. The medium temperature aspect is basically lowering the manufacturing temperature by several hundred degrees at times. And really what you're doing here is manipulating the product to give it a change in structure. So what we have on our hands now, we've got grades that are represented on the ISO scale by a number, as most manufacturers do. But really they have a much larger application field. So what we're doing is you're maintaining the wear resistance for tool life, but it's giving it much sort of tougher characteristics as well, which gives it then, you're moving some of the harder grades into sort of areas that before you wouldn't apply a hard grade. So it gives it a toughness value to give. So it's moving perhaps a semi-finishing grade into roughing applications, that sort of scenario.
I'm with you. And if we look at all these products, you say you bring out two new products a year, or two ranges of products a year, I guess. Presumably there's an element of benchmarking done both on your existing tools and competition tools, I guess. You must have some pretty good technical centre.
Yeah, very, very thorough on that side of it. Well, I guess you can say they're a very technical company. So, we're keen to learn what hurts us in the marketplace as well as the successes. And then it's a focus on who's performing as well. How do we get that improvement in the next range of products? So we do align it with improving over the existing product. And with Tiger Gold, we're looking at, in most cases, we've seen improvements of 46% and forward. So in some, it depends. You can only take on what you meet at the end user site. And in some cases, it's shown improvements of 200%. But generally, overall, the average we put forward is about 50% improvement we've seen turning milling applications.
And if we go back to milling, Tiger-tec Gold milling, it's quite, obviously milling is very broad. Is it fair to say you've got, tangential milling, 90 degree, 45, high feed, button mills, or what you'd expect from, what traditionally used to be a milling company?
Yes. Again, we're modernising the milling platform as well, but we start off, the normal track is to take on the steel and cast iron applications, and then it evolves then into the next phase, which is to look at the stainless steel's high temperature alloys, and it progressively then covers the full range. So it's always phased in, it's designed to be kind on manufacture as well. We've got to sort of balance the old and the new, and the phase in and phase out is very carefully planned. So it does now cross a large section of the milling. There's a bit to cover yet, again, in some of the stainless steel's high temperature alloy applications.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned you've been in this industry for quite some time. What I'm interested to learn, again, back to you really, what's been the biggest change in this industry, cutting tools, in the last, 10, 15 years? Is there one product that stands out, one strategy, one technology?
The one product that stands out is the first generation Tiger-tec, because I was working in a certain capacity at the time, looking at field testing, and it changed the whole agenda of the meeting, because the performance of what then was WAC 10 and WAC 20 was outstanding, and it was encroaching on ceramic type of territory, ceramic material territory, and it was a significant change, and it made everybody sit up and take notice. So over that period of time, that is the one standout product, and here I am now working for Walter and talking about the third generation of that product.
Yeah, and we are going to talk about engineering competence and what it means to alter in more depth in another podcast. Well, I'm interested to learn from your perspective. It's a mantra here, isn't it? Engineering competence. What does that mean to the engineer on the shop floor?
Well, it's a helping hand to him, really. It's very easy to come up with the range of products. We've got a very broad product range. So, there's not really areas where we can add to it. It's so what we look at is the planning side of it. That's one end. And so what we're looking at is the industry changes. So obviously the biggest change at the moment is electric vehicles. So it's planning for that. It's planning for that part of the industry. And there's a bit of a change going on there, what will be required in the future. So we're bringing in then a high emphasis probably on aluminium tools. And then we go to the other side of it is that we want to look to be seen to making sure those tools are working as well as they possibly can. So that's the competence side of it. So we've just bolted on from just designing and manufacturing tooling to put a heavy emphasis on watching the industry and getting the right tools for the industry, and then making them work in an optimized fashion.
I forgot what I was going to say then. What was I going to say? Oh, completely. Oh, crap, it's going well today. I had one more question. Oh yeah, just going to ask about the software, apps and things.
Go on then.
That's it. Again, it only needs to be. Doesn't need to be too detailed.
Okay.
And many manufacturers are actually looking to reduce the cost of serving a customer. Potentially having less people in cars and things. And I know Walter aren't doing that, but you are investing in technology, things like apps and things, aren't you?
Yeah, some very good apps. So we start with obviously the desk-based applications. So the biggest one, I guess the most well-known one, is GPS, Guided Product Search. And from that, you can go in from an application standpoint, or if you have a tool in your hand and you want to know what it can do in a certain application, you can go from that direction. But aside of that, we've got a lot of apps that can be used on the shop floor. So from a mobile device, you can link into cutting tool calculators, wear optimization. So there's a whole range, and we've obviously gone to the other end of things. We have the Kamara side, which has products that basically give you real-time analysis on the machines on the shop floor. So that's going to sort of higher end of things. Sat in the middle is InnerTime, which is a situation we have where you can basically draw a tooling package, drill it right the way down to cost per part with cutting data given. And from that, what you're putting in is your raw materials condition and then the finished part condition, and the software will develop the tooling package for you. The key now is to link all those parts together, so we have a very round range of digital products.
I think that's important. Just to wrap this podcast up, that's important. You can no longer just sell cutting tools, can you? You need to have good engineers on the road, and clearly software is a big advantage as well.
Yeah, I think the engineer on the road is still going to be an important part of the industry. People need the ability to have somebody come to a machine and help and assist with the optimization side of things. But again, it's ease of use. We can't be everywhere. Everybody's running more lean, and you need a balance. And obviously, Industry 4.0 is a talking point, so it's a contribution towards that, and it will continue.
Neil, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure. But as always, the biggest thank you goes to you guys and girls for listening at home. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on MTDCNC.com.